Hi everyone, welcome back. This video will focus on the third act, the middle section of the storytelling teacher method. So if you are joining us for the first time or missed me talking about Act 1 or Act 2, or you're not sure what the storytelling teacher approach is, go and check out my previous videos. So far, as a story, we have set up our main character, the learner, and have an understanding of their wants and needs, which we've gathered for a setup activity. We have thrown them into a conflict by proposing them a question to solve, and they have then accepted that challenge by making meaning from it, analysing and hypothesising how they will solve it. Now we come to Act 3, find your approach. This act is about learning activities and developing tasks. At its simplest form, it is structured in 3 parts. Activity 1, a midpoint, Activity 2. Of course, if the lesson is longer or you need to scaffold the learning more, you can of course increase the number of activities either side of the midpoint. But the main aim is to always try and balance the time so the midpoint falls in the middle. Activity 1 is all about introducing a concept and getting them to apply it based on the problem and central questions set up. So for example, how important is punctuation in an email? My setup activity back in Act 1 would have allowed me to know how well each learner understands each punctuation mark and how it's used. I would then use Activity 1 as an opportunity to adjust any misunderstandings, and I may even want to focus on a particular area, let's say effective use of commas. I would then get them to use this knowledge in a given email extract by identifying where punctuation has been used incorrectly. This activity allows the learners to apply their knowledge and builds their confidence. It also gives you as a teacher the time to support and ensure that all learners are progressing and have a good understanding before you move on. Now, once you've done this activity, hopefully your learners will be at a point where they're starting to feel comfortable with what they're doing. If they know it and can recall it, then we need to throw them a bit of a curveball. And we do this by introducing a midpoint shift. Now, I love this bit of the lesson, but the thing is never, and I mean never, tell your learners that you include it in your plan. And don't ever give them a hint of what that shift might be. Let's be fair, we don't want to ruin the story for our audience. So, like in all your favourite films, halfway through the story, something happens that does one of 2 things. It can either reveal new information not known before to the main character, which changes their perception, or it puts in a twist, something that was not expected, that forces the character to abandon what feels like a comfortable path and find another route. Whichever one you choose to introduce at the midpoint is up to you, but I would say make sure that you vary it. Usually by February half term, my learners are generally aware that there is a shift in the middle. Well, what's he going to do? Bet there's a twist. What's he not telling us? As I said, I love this bit because as a storytelling teacher, I adore watching them react to that particular moment. Whatever you do at the midpoint will impact Activity 2. Therefore, the shift can be as big or as small as you want. You may have learners, for example, who find a sudden change too overwhelming. So as a storyteller, you need to know your audience. So for our English session, for example, I could reveal and introduce some new information, like when to use colons and semicolons. This means that Activity 2 will require them to use these along with the basic punctuation that they learned before. Alternatively, I can dramatically shift the activity. Great, progress. Now let's write an email to a friend that uses accurate punctuation. You can propose a new central question. You can mix up the groups. You can change requirements of the task. You can throw spanners into plans. You have my permission to be as cruel as you need to be to them, because it's this midpoint that re-engages your learners. It develops their confidence and understanding and pushes those critical thinking and problem solving skills. Now that the learners have found their approach, Okay, once they've completed activity 2, we now need to raise the stakes and put in one final challenge for them to overcome. I will talk about how we approach this in Act 4 in my next video. If you're finding the storytelling teacher approach useful and interesting, please like, share, give some feedback on social media, and subscribe to the Curious Spirit YouTube channel and to my LinkedIn newsletter. You can also visit my website at curiousspirit.co.uk, where you can book workshops where I dive deeper into each act and can show you how to further boost engagement, embed critical thinking and problem solving skills, and maximise your success as a storytelling teacher. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time for Act 4.